Alright guys, I'm here to give you my prediction for the main event of this UFC Austin card, and I've said it multiple times, I am super excited for this card, this main event especially as well. It's Beniel Dariush versus Arman Tsaryukan, just a top 10 lightweights going at it, co-main event as well, is really good for lightweights as well. The big problem with this fight though is, who do they fight next after this, because Dustin Poirier has allegedly ducked Beniel Dariush 2 times, which I don't know why he's even in the rankings if he's not going to fight people in the fucking rankings. But we're going to talk about this fight right now. And I saw a lot of people are picking Arman, and I agree with that. I just think Arman's going to win this fight. I've seen some people also picking Beneil, and I don't think that's a bad pick. Let me say this. I think this is a very close matchup, and it's not one where there's an obvious winner or any of that. But there are some things to mention about this of why I pick Arman Tsaryukan to win. Before I begin, I'm going to mention his last fight against Joaquim Silva, who is also fighting on this card, against Clay Guida. That should be a good matchup. He got rocked in that fight, like, pretty badly. It was a really good shot. And Joaquim Silva hits hard. I think, just looking at him, you know he's going to hit hard. He's got good KOs, TKOs, he hits hard, just all that stuff. But Arman Tsaryukan came back from that and managed to finish him on the ground with strikes. And he was dog walking him that entire fight before that. I don't think enough people were giving credit for what he was doing in that fight. And it's just Joaquim Silva landed probably one of the most perfect shots for him, and he couldn't drop or knock out or TKO Arman Tsaryukan. Just show that Arman has a chin. He can take shots. I know his first loss was a KO, but that was his second ever fight. So you got to give the man some credit, especially how young he was. They recovered from that and then TKO'd Joaquim Silva on the ground. It was a really good finish. And he's just looked good in other fights. Damir Ismagulov, he looked really good against him. It was just a very good win against him. Just outstruck him, out-grappled him. He defended, most of his takedowns. I don't think he defended all of them, but majority of them were defended. He just showed he was levels above Damir Ismagulov, and just a really good win. I believe he beat what was his name? Mateusz Gamrot. I thought it was 3-2 in the rounds, and that fight was just amazing on the ground battle. And yeah, it was a close fight, but it was a competitive fight, but it wasn't really a close fight in my opinion. So I do think he got robbed in that, and he was already on a crazy win streak. When I think of his one of his better performances or his scarier performances, Yoel Alvarez, he beat that man like he owed him he owed him money, to put it frankly. It was brutal. He threw a kick. Yoel Alvarez threw a kick, and he basically just flips him over on the ground and just pummels him on the ground. It was just crazy, if I'm being honest. But where does Beniel Dariush? How does he? I think he does have a chance of winning. I think it's a very competitive fight, as I said. Either one of them can win. I'm not going to be too mad if either one of them wins. I want some new faces in the division, but I also like Beniel Dariush, just all he's done for the division. He fought Charles Oliveira rather than just waiting around, and you have to respect that, because how many lightweights are doing that right now? You just got to think about that. You have to give him some respect for that. And yeah, he lost to Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is a former champion. I picked Charles to win that fight. But I was also, during that fight, I was like, oh man, Beniel, I think he might win that fight. But what is it? He's just a really good at getting position. Just grappling-wise, he doesn't really go for submissions. And he's not really going to get KOs on the feet unless it's a random spinning back fist against. I don't even remember who it was. He wasn't important enough for that. But that's really the only times he really gets finishes. Other than that, if you're on the ground with him, he's probably going to hold you there and just dominate positions there. He'll land a couple of strikes in there, but you're just not going to have a fun time. So I am curious how Arman deals with that and trying to get him down, because if he can't get him down, I'm curious, because Beniel isn't a crazy striker or anything, but he's got the basics down. He knows he's competent enough where he's not one of these grappler wrestlers that looks horrible on the feet with that. But the main thing I want to say that really comes to my mind, and I know Arman, he normally gets all his finishes on the ground, so it comes to him getting Beniel to the ground. But Beniel Dariush has a very suspect chin, And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, we were questioning Charles Oliveira because he got dropped. He got dropped in several fights. He had been in the game a long time. He got dropped and submitted by Islam Makhachev. And then he was come back against Beneil Dariush. And everyone's like, oh, he's washed. He's going to lose his fight. It's all that. And now some people are saying, oh, we're doing the same thing to Beneil Dariush. Like that. But I'm also like, this guy has been KO'd multiple times. And the big one that comes to my mind is Alexander Hernandez. On short notice, Alexander Hernandez took this fight and knocked his ass out, like, brutally. That's not a good look. And then to get KO'd by Charles Oliveira in first round of that, it just doesn't look good. Like, he doesn't have an iron chin or anything, but he normally does good at just making sure you don't really hit him with enough power or that you just don't get going with your strikes and all that stuff. I think Arman has a very underrated striking game of his switch kicks to body, amazing. His jab, he's got a pretty good jab with that. Just overall, he's decent with that. But it's on the ground where he needs to focus on. And if he can get him to the ground, I can see him just pummeling him with strikes and then eventually getting a TKO in the fourth round. That's my prediction. It's going to be a fourth round TKO. Take it to the books. That's what I'm going to say for that. But I do think Beneil can also win this. If Beneil wins, it's probably going to be a decision. But the other thing you got to imagine is Beneil's an older dude. He's in his 30s. I think he's mid-30s. He looks older than I thought he was. I thought he was like 37 when he fought Tony Ferguson, I'm going to be honest with you. But he could be carrying an injury. I think the chances of one of them coming in this fight with an injury, I know MMA Guru said it, but it's very true. Who's more likely to come into this fight carrying an injury and who's more likely to recover from one if they have it? I think that speaks for itself.